I'm excited to be back back home, returning from a long 3-game road trip. And so me and my coaching staff were excited to be back home, and not necessarily home for a home game, but home to play a tradition, a legacy battle of the Bay between Hampton and Norfolk State. And so we're excited to participate in this rivalry, excited to be back in the area, and looking forward to the battle.
What comes to mind when you hear Hampton, Norfolk State?
Just the battle of the Bay, just the battle between this bridge and going over there. I'm from Norfolk. I grew up in Norview. I grew up in Bowling Park. My uncles went to Norfolk State. My mother went to Norfolk State. My brother went to Norfolk State. So I'm very familiar with the area. Very familiar with the battle of it, and from football to basketball, it's just a classic local rivalry that each year it brings out the best in terms of play between the two schools and between the fans, and it gives the fans the bragging right for that year, for that game. And so it means a lot to the history of the schools, and it means a lot for the fanatics, and that's good for sports. That's good for the area. That's good for camaraderie and all of that good stuff.
Any trash talk between you and family members that went to Norfolk State?
Not really, not at all. Let me tell you, my mom will tell you she root for her baby. My mom knows that if you come to any of my games, I don't get. My mom is rooting right here. She'll tell you, like, regardless where she went to school for, this is where she's rooting for. And so, same thing with my brother. They're rooting for the guy that has the same blood as them. So,
Do you need to say much to your players about a game like this?
we don't. I don't. And actually, from the history of the game, me knowing about it, but it's tough. We get a lot of transfer guys. Guys that come into the system. This is really, new to them. This one and also the Howard one, and so they just got to get adjusted to it. Some of the guys played in it last year, and we're just trying to get better. We're excited about the opportunity to play against Norfolk State team who, he's been there for like 10 or so years. He has a tradition. He has a program. It's a very, very good team, very good program. And so we're just trying to be in the rivalry. In order for something to be a rivalry, it's something that must go back and forth. We have to do our job in making it a rivalry. Right now, I don't know if it's a rivalry. I think they might own the battle. I don't know what it is, but I just know the history of his program. Before I got here, I'm year 2, but he's done a good job in the area. Not only with this rivalry, but some other schools in this area he's done well against.
Last week, Robert Jones said, there may be an advantage to having so many kids who transfer in because they don't understand the magnitude of a game like this, so they kind of just treat it like any other game. Does that kind of hold true?
It does hold true to an extent until they walk into that gym and then they see, wait a minute, like this game is more packed than any of our other traditional home games. And I think that's what happened to us last year. Like, so we had new guys who had never experienced it. And then when they walked into the gym and saw, standing room only, they realized that it was a true rivalry, and that regardless of the talent of the teams, regardless, it just generally comes down to the wire, comes down to some type of run, and whichever team is able to sustain and keep their composure the best normally can come out on top. But it's a true rivalry game.
When you have a lengthy road trip like you just had, sometimes you can learn a lot about your guys. What did you learn?
I learned that we are a team that that has to we have to get connected. We're not connected yet on all facets of the game. I think I learned we can score the ball with the best of them. And so we weren't playing defense early on in the season, and now we're playing defense, and now our offense isn't really clicking the way it needs to be. So we just learned that we haven't been connected on all facets of the game, offense and defense, to be able to come out with some of those victories that I think we were capable of doing. And so we just haven't put it together early, but it's early in the season, it's highs and lows. And so I would much prefer to learn from wins, but in life you got to learn from your losses as well. So we're learning, we're growing, and as long as we figure it out by conference play, we'll be fine. So I'm hoping that we can just continue to get better. We've gotten better in increments and different facets. We just haven't gotten better enough to come out with some W's that we would like to.
What's that process like of trying to put it all together?
Mhm.
Like things that you would like to see in a full game.
Process, that's why the beauty of people, they love sports. Sports is just like life. You're trying to figure it out. You're trying to figure out your team. You're trying to figure out, how you're going to put yourself in the best situation, how you're going to scheme to help you be successful. And so when it's early, you might think you know some things, and then it's a little adversity, and then you got to figure it out. And so that's just what we're doing. And every college team across the country is trying to do that, especially with the transfer portal. You're trying to figure out how to put your young men in the, best situations to help them come out on top with new pieces, new faces, new system. And so that's where we are. We're no different. And, hopefully you're all trying to figure it out faster than the next team in order to get you some wins.
He was just talking about Robert Jones. I thought of something during the ODU preview. He said in a game like that where there's so many emotions involved, you're not going to see the same individuals act the same. Like Norfolk State's going to be up for you, so it's going to be a different person. Do you kind of get that sense too, because of the emotions of this game? The players may not be what guys will be playing out of their minds. In some cases, you kind of go, he doesn't do that. Do you kind of sense that would be the case in a game like this?
Yeah, the building can provide energy into it. So a young player who may not be that exceptional or may not be capable of hitting that shot regularly or shooting a low percentage, that night might come out and be a bonfire. He might that night be Steph. Maybe it's not a good 3-point shooter, but that night, that's what the energy of this game can do. And so it does, ignite better play, ignite, the rivalry. It magnifies it. And so you just got to be prepared and ready for anything. I'm hoping that the schedule that we have played, the competition that we have played, and how we built this schedule, we're building ourselves to be, one of tough on the road. Energy, effort, enthusiasm, toughness. It's the ethos of my program. And so this schedule that we put together was not by mistake. We meant to go on the road for 3 days. We meant to come back home to play Norfolk State after going on the road for 3 days. And we have supremely planned to be on the road basically 9 out of our non-conference, I think 12 of our non-conference games, 9 of them are on the road. I just believe no titles are won at home. So I'm going to build us road tough, and we'll see how we do.
Their team is like they're 1 or 2 guys are featured guys from last year's team. So I mean, it's kind of hard sometimes when you can't really look at last year's tape at all for anything.
Well, you don't look at last year's tape. You look at this year's tape, and then you explain to your guys a little bit what he just alluded to. Regardless, this game is going to raise the level of play. And so because of the game, the energy that's in it, so you just prepare your team for the team that's there, but you also try to prepare them for the rivalry, the energy that's in the building. And so they are a different team than they were last year. I think they get up and down the floor a little bit more. And so, but he's done a good job. He's recruited to his culture. Hopefully I've recruited to my culture in year 2. And so, year after year is different. It's a different game for the community is a different game. And I'm hoping that, it's just an introduction for people who have not experienced it to come out and, watch good basketball in the area. It also puts us on, spotlight. Come see some good basketball in the area, some good, clean fun, and a great rivalry that compels with any other rivalry in the country. Norfolk State, Hampton, Battle of the Bay.
Is this also or is it was kind of a wash because it's a rivalry game? Is this a litmus test for you guys as to where you might be as a team in a highly charged rivalry game? You just kind of go, it's kind of, we're not really sure. You can gauge that.
I think it's a litmus test for me to see if my team can get better. And it's a litmus test for us to see if we can just, handle the environment. I do think this will be one of the toughest environments that we will play in because it is a rivalry. I don't know if we could replicate this energy in a building that will allow us to go into a College of Charleston and say, hey, we faced this because we've been in a hostile environment. That will allow us to go into a Townsend and say, hey, we played in the Battle of the Bay where they were right on top of you and they were right there. To me, it's always about being able to Google your experiences. You can't, necessarily Google it. You have to go through it. And so it's good for us to play these games early. This game, the battle of the real HU that will be packed as well. And so these rivalries that at one point in time used to be our conference games, we use those to make sure that we can, draw upon them when we go on the road within our conference in the CAA.
Any other questions? Coach, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.